Hello defenders of the last safe city on earth. In today's video we're going to be going over something very special. Now, I don't typically make build videos, but when I do, it's because a lot of you guys over on my Twitch channel bombard me with questions about what I'm using, and oh boy, is this build a spicy one. Anyway, pardon my beating around the bush and let us partake in the knowledge that is the Night Stalker Khepri's build. Now to start the build, we are going to start in the subclass department, which mind you in some aspects is the least important part of the whole build in my opinion. First, I use Deadfall for my super, which has a radius of 12 meters and suppresses and weakens targets in its area of effect. Just to elaborate on why I use Deadfall, I just really find Quiver to be super underwhelming and even worse than Deadfall, on top of the fact it has a higher cooldown, so Deadfall to me is a no-brainer. Moving on to my abilities, I use Marksman Dodge for my class ability, which gives me a 14-second cooldown dodge, which is about as low as you can get for the cooldown at tier 10. I usually use the dodge to get melee energy back so I can get my smoke bomb back up at 25 seconds instead of its base cooldown at 35 at tier 10. Next, for the jump, I use strafe jump, as I have never really been a fan of triple jump or high jump ever in Destiny 2. And then obviously the snare bomb, it's literally the only melee ability available. And last bit for the abilities, the grenades. I typically am going to be using a spike nade because they're super low cooldown and have a good area of effect, but sometimes depending on the team, the map, I might switch to vortex, but once again I'm usually sticking to the trusty old spike nade. Now to get into aspects, starting off with Trapper's Ambush, which allows you to use quickfall and make yourself and your teammates invisible with your smoke. Trapper's Ambush also has an effective radius of about 9 meters for damage, and the damage actually scales depending on how close you are to the target. For example, if you're 1 meter away from someone, you'll hit them for 51 damage and weaken them. However, if you're 9 meters away from someone, you will only hit them for 32 damage and apply a weaken. And to finish off the aspects, Vanishing Step, which I just prefer because the invis can actually be very nice for making flanks, and I just don't really think Stylish Executioner has too much practicality currently with how you apply weakens in the game. So for my fragments, I use Echo of Leeching for an extra 10 resil, and because getting my health back on melee kills is actually super clutch at times in trials, especially in 1v3 situations. Then Echo of Dilation for 10 mobility and 10 intellect to give me those stat points, and lastly Echo of Expulsion purely for stats, although at times the Void Explosion on Void ability kills can be pretty clutch. Now that we've completed the subclass portion of the build, let's move on to the weapons. And for my primary weapon, I'm using the Empirical Evidence. And then for my special weapon, or energy weapon, I am using the Lorentz Driver, the old Larry boy. Then I am using the Storm Chaser as my heavy weapon. By the way, Storm Chaser is the best linear fusion heavy weapon in the entire game. These are my main weapons that I've been using and did use this last weekend on Burnout. Now, mind you, this build is usable with pretty much any variation of weapons. I could be using this Boudica, I could be using Multi-Mac. It really doesn't matter. These weapons that I'm using currently are not essential to the build. What is essential to the build is the stat split and the armor perks, and that's pretty much it. You can use whatever weapons you want with it. You could use Arbalist and a Funnel Web. You could use Empirical Evidence and a Lorentz Driver. You could use Le Monarch and a Multi-Mac. You could use No Time to Explain and a 7 Seraph Shotgun. You could use the Dead Messenger and a Multi-Mac or Empirical Evidence. My point is, the weapons that I'm using currently are not really too important, but these are very good weapons to use with this build. Typically like a Sniper, Linear Fusion, Chaperone, like I said, Dead Messenger, stuff like that. Those all combo very, very well. Basically anything that's going to allow you to have the edge to get that one-shot kill with weapons that are able to one-shot kill or basically one-shot kill, this build is very good for. So anyway, with that covers the weapons portion of this video. I always like to make sure that I have a lot of weapons that I can hot swap to pretty much for every occasion that could ever happen in any game scenario. So typically what I'll do as well, which I do pretty often, is when I run out of Lorentz Driver, or if I do run out of Lorentz Driver and the round is still going on, I will typically hot swap to Le Monarch. I'm still very new to using all of these weapons. Like I typically don't use a sidearm and linear fusion and all this stuff and a bow, so I don't even have like the catalyst for these weapons, but I'll get there eventually, especially if the meta is like this long enough. I'll eventually get this, I'll eventually get this, like, you know, 71% targets defeated on this or whatever. So in time. Anyway, that covers the weapon portion. Now let's move on to the armor, which is, in my opinion, the meat of this build. Moving on to the armor, we are going to start with my helmet, and on my helmet I am using a mobility mod to give me an increased cooldown on my dodge, which is at 10 mobility, 14 seconds once again, just to reiterate that. And I'm using sidearm targeting and linear fusion targeting to basically give me increased ADS speed on my sidearm and my linear fusion, and also an increased aim assist value, which is 10 aim assist increase. And then moving on to the Khepri Sting Exotic, I'm using a strength mod, sidearm dexterity. Well, I'm using a strength mod to decrease my melee cooldown, a sidearm dexterity to give me faster weapon ready and stow speed for my sidearm, fastball to give me increased grenade throw distance so I can hit grenades on angles that I wouldn't be able to hit typically, and then radiant light to give me a more increased cooldown on my smoke and also make me charge with light, or my allies charge with light or whatever. And now onto the Khepri's Exotic. So there is some functionality for this exotic that I think is worth me covering, some functionality and some facts that can be very useful to you guys. So to start, Khepri's is effective from up to 77 meters. So you can see people through walls from up to 77 meters. I personally didn't know that, and I learned that during recording this. So that's something that a cool, interesting fact that you now are armed with the knowledge of knowing. And as well, I knew the increase to damage was pretty significant with your melee being charged, but the increase to your melee damage is about 53%. Typically, your melee does 100 damage. With Khepri's Sting, it does 153. So, and it also increases the damage of your smoke bomb from 61 damage base to 90, which is roughly about a 50%. I was about to say 90, which is roughly about a 50% increase to your smoke bomb damage as well. You are also able to get wall hacks from Khepri's. Besides quick falling on the ground, you can also throw a smoke bomb on the ground, shoot it, and then you'll also get the wall hacks from that. And as well, currently as I'm recording this video, there is a bug or exploit in the game where you're basically able to quick fall, get the initial wall hacks for 2 seconds, back up, dodge back into your smoke bomb, like the initial smoke, and you will get wall hacks too, so that you can basically get 2 or 4 seconds of wall hacks for the cost of 1 smoke bomb if you know how to do that effectively enough. So those are the interesting facts of Khepri's. This exotic is very strong, and I think, quite frankly, the wall hack portion or true sight portion of the build or the exotic should only work in PvE. I don't mind the increased melee damage and making my smoke bombs do more damage, but I think the true sight is a little bit too much, honestly. Anyway, moving on to the chest piece, we have a mobility mod to give me faster stray speed and decrease my dodge cooldown, sidearm unflinching, and to give me reduced flinch on my sidearm, and high energy fire to give me a 10% increase to damage, which can be really clutch in rounds where people are popping supers in Trials of Osiris. Like, supers just popping off, it's going crazy, and having that 10% increase to damage over people not having that 10% increase to damage can definitely be a game changer or game winning play. So I highly recommend being able to fit that into your build. And then onto the boots, we have a recovery mod to make sure my health regen is at its max capacity, and 2 invigoration mods and powerful friends. Powerful friends to give me my super and to give me 20 mobility to help my dodge cooldown, and 2 invigorations just basically to give me the powerful friends and also to give me a little bit of a cooldown on my melee if I do happen to pick up orbs of light. And then we have a strength mod to decrease my cooldown on my melee. And then 2 outreach mods, sorry, speaking a little bit too fast there, and a taking charge mod to get me charged with light as well, just another source. And outreach mods obviously just to decrease my smoke bomb cooldown. Anyway, with all that being said, that is the subclass weapons, and armor all covered for this build. Now we are going to watch a gameplay of me using this build in a live scenario so you guys can kind of get some examples of or cues or see how I use the build in a live combat scenario. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Get right into it. Played against you and Eagle for the first time the other day and stayed for 3 rounds just to experience SmackDown, but then my team bounced to try and do a carry and realized we were just...
by a lot. And then...
Super Saiyan Sandwich, thank you 2 for 2, welcome back.
They're all using linears, so...
Does capping your frame rate increase latency? I have no idea.
You will pick up fallen friends and put down smug opponents.
They did just get rammed. So.
Good side east. Will might jump over on me?
I'm one body.
That's the
Yep.
guy. One's very weak. There's a foot mine to hold him.
I'm dead.
Only one
Mission.
enemy is
He's
left.
gonna be getting the revive. It's right underneath right side bridge.
I got Lorenz.
One ally is left. Is in their hands. Only one.
That's a kill.
enemy
Come to
is
your left. Come to your left.
One
He's on the
minute
res on the
left,
left.
On res.
He's not on it, actually. Oh, that's fortunate for them having
His
any
health
cannon.
bar is literally non-existent. Rough.
Does not matter.
I could have waited a second to challenge so I wasn't full health yet.
That's just he just has a better weapon.
I cannot wait to
Yeah,
see
I
how
probably
you
wouldn't. That would
turn
drain
the
my
tide.
hands.
100%. You almost won it with a fucking main cannon.
Dude, are you sick?
What, using hand cannon?
And me
Far
sneezing.
right side.
Yeah, two. One shot of the army down.
Still one outside, like crouching on the heavy ammo
Yeah,
spot.
careful.
Jump right top.
Halfway
There's
to
one
my
up top. There's one up top.
Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna stop challenging these guys. 3 linears pushing the middle door.
He's weak on the right. Dive.
One
Oh,
ally is left.
yes. I got shot by the guy in 20 inches.
The next
Yeah, he
round
jumped over the
will
wheel
be
behind you.
Sure. Yeah.
I look overextended. Get an angle on that guy.
Yep.
This score tells only half the story. You tell the rest.
One body. There's one out, or one in mid. Two in mid.
One's strafing over to me. One. Oh, Sour's one. That sucks. Nice to kill. Put over shield down.
Before I get out.
Fortunate.
I was with you, but I wasn't all the way in, so I couldn't see around the pillar.
Your opponent's lead. You can come back from this.
Hitting
Pushing
mid.
far right side.
One left.
One on left. Two on right. One in mid.
I'm gonna try to isolate this guy on the left.
One on bridge. He went on bridge.
They do have heavy.
1 minute
Yeah,
left.
nice to kill.
Only one
That's this guy.
enemy is left.
Looking for him. Don't see him.
You are
He's
always
half. He's half.
This is your fight to win.
Nice, dude. Huge.
Your ally is back in the fight.
We had to win.
They
That was
tried
big.
very hard to
Can't believe they
kill
didn't go
you,
for the
but
freaking
you are
heavy.
like me, very
Probably didn't
stubborn.
think it was necessary.
The other team leads. Let this motivate you.
I'm about to have my smoke. Mid pillar.
Two in mid pillar. One challenging. Left
I'm bodied.
side.
They're probably gonna
They're
push
gonna
me.
push me on the left hand side. I'm rotating back towards mid.
Okay.
They're
All 3 in that cubby. They just Khepri. They Khepri.
One minute left, my friend.
I'm getting close to my smoke bomb again. They're all like on the bridge. They're all on the bridge. Yeah, we gotta push up. I'm pushing up personally.
pushing up as well.
Oh, we got weak on bridge. Each bridge, one shot, dead.
Sour's half on west bridge.
Only
Got
one
one.
enemy is left.
This guy.
Last kid's in the back, over near library somewhere.
Yeah, on me.
Alright.
It's rated. That's lucky.
That is the round. You're giving their ghosts a lot of practice. The other team leads. Let this motivate you.
Big numbers.
Well, two on right, one challenging left, going over towards east.
Okay, I'm gonna pop my
Cubby.
stuff. Yeah, they're all outside now. All outside west. One's wrapping around, left.
1 minute left, my friend.
Good shot, where is that? Where is
Right
that?
side, right side mid.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump out. They're both left. They're both left. They're both left. Careful, careful. Over here. I just raid the pick. That's a bubble down, too.
Nope, that's huge.
Top bridge for sure.
Bridge.
That one got bridge.
Still one outside, too.
Enemy is left.
He's snipe.
That is the round. You're giving their ghosts a lot of practice.
Harsh closure, reporting for duty, brethren.
Yep, good shots.
This tie cannot continue. It's you or them. Fight.
Maybe play aggressively here. Hold on. I'm waiting for my smoke. Typically, playing aggressive with tether never goes well, but...
We got one altar, one library, and one is west cubby. So they're very split up. There's a trim line on middle door.
Two on east bridge. They put a shield down. Backing up. They have blade brush.
Lorenz is in the middle. Over by the pillar. I got a nade on one. One's one shot underneath middle bridge. Lorenz on me. Hit him twice. I'm dead before I can move.
Got one. That's gonna be on.
It's middle. It's in middle.
He's got blade barrage in mid.
It's in middle. It's in middle. The res on the right. You can see if this is on the right.
Guardian,
No shield check, no shield.
I have super.
be brave.
One shot.
You are the last.
I used my tether there
Make them run.
to secure Jake's res. So.
Impressive victory. You never disappoint.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I gave you wall hacks on that guy and backed him off, so I think it's well worth.
Match point. Your team stands tall.
I almost had my spectral blades, which I literally didn't even realize I've been running.
Yep.
Yep.
I have my tether.
Okay, they're all outside and left. All outside and left, rotating right now. I'm bodied. They might push. Very weak. They're not going to.
Two on west side.
All three have
I think about
supers.
going inside east. Looks
I think
like.
we just play slow here. Unless we get a pick, there's no point in playing aggressively. They have three. We have one. We can maybe get his spec here, is what I'm...
Yeah.
Yeah, I have spec in like 2 seconds.
Okay.
Or like 5 seconds.
They're kind of split right now. The Titan's, like, on old power. There's one back right, back left, and back mid.
I'm pushing up on my right side. There's 2 on far
30
left. Or
seconds
outside left.
I'm gonna try to hold the inside left here. So they can't get an angle from here.
I knew he was gonna do that to me, dude.
Two coming through mid, Jake.
Okay, I'm moving towards disclosure.
Okay, I have one shot.
Oh, I'm screwed.
Just you now.
They're smoked on me. Rent's reloading. One's going bridge. One's gonna be up top bridge.
Night comes.
Up left bridge.
Take the zone.
West.
End it.
You could go for my revive, maybe.
No, they're there.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both in that cubby. Still both in that cubby. One's on stairs.
stairs.
Both just right there on the edge. I'll just slide in.
Yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah. They're
Right.
Team is falling.
their submission spray is
Back
strong.
up. Opponent revived.
Solo super the moment he started pushing. Disgusting.
It is match point. Your time. End it.
You got spec.
Yeah, they use two. They only have Bub.
I mean, this does not kill Bub, though. That's the
I know.
problem.
I could go and tether Bub and you can do it.
He
You
also
can pop aggressively. If he pops, I can go in there and get him too.
They're
all like West Bridge.
2 on West Bridge. 2 on West Bridge.
okay, yeah, definitely pop and push.
Plays,
Be
dude.
careful. Yep.
Okay.
1 minute
Yep.
left, my
We gotta,
Trying to get over there.
yeah, got a tether on that.
I don't know where it is, but it's gonna be tethered.
Kill him.
Huge.
Your ally is
Huge.
back in the fight. Only one.
Hit
enemy
sour.
is
He's
left.
half. Sour is half. He's one shot. Good job.
Alright, well.
And this is the
I'm
game.
just getting super for killed out of a super like that.
Yeah. I love everything about the match we just played. It was so enjoyable. I loved it all.
Yeah, it sure looked like you were having fun, dude.
Ruthless.
Yep, I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna definitely use Ariana's and Fabringer more often.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good plan.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep using that for sure. I'm gonna go and actually swap. Do you mind giving me a second in orbit to not use this shit anymore?
That is okay, Grenader Jake.